Show me something.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Show Me Something podcast. As always, I'm Jacob.
I'm Will.
And I'm Trevor.
And today I showed the boys Rocketman from 2019, the musical-ish biopic of Elton John, his life, mostly just like him as a kid and then coming up in the industry until his sobriety towards the end of the movie. It was directed by Dexter Fletcher, who's not really known for directing. He's only directed like a couple other things. He's mostly an actor. Has a ton of acting credits, but one other thing that he did direct was Eddie the Eagle from 2015 that also has Taron in it. But I didn't know any of the stuff that he directed. It was only like 5 things. So apparently he helped finish directing Bohemian Rhapsody, which was interesting when the other guy got fired.
Interesting.
But he's not credited as a director on IMDb for that. But anyway, so what did you guys think?
Will, you can start.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm not a huge Elton John guy. Like, I don't dislike him or like him actively. I just haven't really listened to a ton of his music. You know, I know pretty much, I think all that I really knew going into this movie was Benny and the Jets and Rocketman. You know, here and there, obviously, I recognize songs, but I'm not very versed in his music, and I haven't ever actively listened to him. It was good. I am not really a fan of musicals, so that aspect of the film was a bit of a knock for me, just because it's, for whatever reason, it's hard for me to maintain dramatic momentum when someone breaks into song. That's like a thing that has always kind of thrown me off. There aren't a ton of musicals that I would consider like in my favorite movies ever made. But I do think it was enjoyable, and I had a lot of style, which I liked. I thought Taron Egerton was great. The supporting cast was good. There were a bunch of people in this movie I didn't know were in the movie going into it, so that was nice. I think it's definitely a lot better than the Queen biopic. I enjoyed this a lot more, and yeah, I would probably say I'm like right between a 6.5 and a 7. The only reason I would go to a 6.5 is just because of the musical format. It's not really like an objective knock. It's more of a subjective knock. Like it takes me out of it a lot when that shit comes in. I think there were some really great moments that were musical based in this film. But overall, a lot of it is kind of goofy to me. But I think it's very enjoyable, especially if you like Elton John. I think you'll enjoy it. And a great performance from Taron Egerton. And I thought it was pretty well directed, too. And obviously, like I said, very stylish. So, yeah, I'd recommend it for sure.
Cool. What about you, Trev?
I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time with it. Big surprise, a movie about Elton John has fantastic music all throughout.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I didn't even think of this movie as a musical at first. Like, now that, like, once...
Which is actually funny, because Abby, who loves musicals, also doesn't consider this a musical.
Yeah.
That's why when I introduced it, I said it was a musical-ish biopic.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't consider this to be a musical at all. Like, now that you've said it, I can see... And I'm not a huge fan of musicals either, to be fair, but I really enjoyed this. Loved the classic takes on a lot of Elton John's big songs, like these different takes on them at certain points. Yeah. I mean, I do like Elton John. I'm not, again, like as we talked about, I'm not the most music buff person of the group by far. I very rarely ever seek out artists to listen to. But, like, I'll hear a song and I'm like, that's Elton John. I know that's Elton John, and it's great. I do love his music. Yeah, I did enjoy this. I thought, how do you pronounce Taron's last name?
Egerton.
Egerton?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I always say Egerton.
I thought it was Egerton, too, because of, like, his nickname in Kingsman, Eggsy, for some reason.
I'm pretty sure it's Egerton.
Is that related?
I know it's not related, but I thought maybe that
good shout.
That's what I love him from, and I always figured that he was picked to play Elton John because they got to know each other on the set of Kingsman 2. That was my personal theory.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, Elton John is like
Forgot about that.
has a surprisingly large role in Kingsman 2 for some reason.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I've only seen the first one.
Pretty good.
It's not anywhere near as good as the first one.
No,
I
it's not.
think the first one's hella overrated, so that's probably...
Damn.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're gonna ignore that for now.
So, okay. Ignore my opinion. Yeah, that sounds good.
Just for now, we'll come back to it.
We'll talk about that off of the podcast, but you're wrong.
No, we won't. Okay.
But I really enjoyed it. I probably give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. There was a couple of you know what, maybe a 9, 8.5 to a 9. I did really enjoy it. I don't know if I would rewatch it anytime soon though. You know what I mean?
9?
That's why I'm sticking probably to my 8.5. Okay. But it was really good. I thought it told the story really well. I liked a lot about it. It was good. There's a couple of times where I'm like, I got angry, but I got angry because I'm sure they wanted me to be angry, so they kind of did their job, I guess, if that makes sense.
It probably makes more sense when I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, I didn't really consider it a musical for some reason. It totally is, but I didn't even think of that. I was like, it's a movie about Elton John. Of course they're going to sing his songs. Like, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the kid that they got to play, the young version of him.
The youngest one?
Yeah, the youngest version of Elton John.
There's 2, though.
Yeah, he said the youngest one, right?
So the first one.
Yeah, not the teenage version, because the teenage version was or not even teenage, was around for a minute.
He's like a preteen.
He's
in it for a while. He's in it for just as much as the littler kid.
No, I think the littler kid's in there more because he also shows up in other scenes for weird flashback things for Elton John.
Okay, but yeah, what were you gonna say about the?
I thought he was a damn near identical lookalike when especially at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, at the end, the photo, they do look exactly the same.
They look that was a damn good casting on whoever did that. He did a good job. Really good. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, that was my thought for the spoiler-free zone. Not there's much of a spoiler for this movie. It's all history, in a way.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. My rating pretty much mirrors what Trevor had his at. I see this movie as an 8.5, 9 range for me. I enjoy it a lot. I think it's heavily biased by how much I like Elton John's music. Obviously, it's just such a fun movie to watch. It's so colorful. The outfits are amazing. All based on Elton John's outfits from different concerts or photos or whatever. The casting is great. All the actors did a fantastic job. I find it just a really easy and enjoyable movie to watch, even though there are really heavy issues in it, his identity issues and then his issues with drug abuse and everything. But yeah, the director did a fantastic job, even though he hasn't done a whole lot of directing. He did it really well. Taron's voice is amazing. He did all the songs original recording, which is insane.
It was crazy. He did
such a fantastic job, but didn't try to mimic him, but did his own take on each song, which is it's really, really well done. Big shout to Taron and their duets that you can see on YouTube and stuff with Taron and with Elton John are also fantastic. So yeah, big shouts. This movie also won an Oscar for Best Original Song, the I'm Gonna Love Me Again song. And then it also, Taron won Best Actor in Golden Globes for a comedy or musical, which is dope. They also won Best Song there, I think, too, at the Golden Globes. But yeah. Oh, also, when I was looking it up on the production side, this was written by the same person who wrote Cats.
Wow.
What?
The 2019 Cats, yeah.
Damn.
Also, that person also wrote Billy Elliot and War Horse. The person's name is Lee Hall.
Wow, he's got some ups and downs in his credits. Then.
It's all over the place. but I really like this movie. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it enough to not hate it.
Yeah, no,
I enjoyed it.
But yeah, we also want to say that we're going to be doing this episode a little bit differently. We decided to change up our format a little bit based on some of the other episodes where we've been a little bit off the rails and off cuff. Mostly the comedies that Trevor has shown us is when we do that the most. But yeah, we don't want to follow like all the plot lines because it kind of gets redundant and it's not necessary. I think we all kind of agree it doesn't make the best podcast. So,
and I know I'm the one that's most guilty of trying to keep us on track for plots, and I've got to make a conscious effort now to not do that.
Yeah,
but I think we'll be better off overall to try and just talk about what we want to talk about and not have to necessarily wait for that to show up.
I agree. So we're basically going to be breaking it down into different sections where either we could talk about notable scenes, things that we liked in the production aspect or the directing or the writing or whatever it may be. In this case, probably our favorite songs or scenes with those songs. So it's not just purely Elton John centric, but based on the movie. And other stuff like that. Just whatever we really want to talk about. That doesn't have to be just plot.
Yes. All right.
It has to be a musical. I'm so thrown by that you guys not thinking this is a musical. I know you both said
I do think
right?
it's a musical. I do think it's a musical, Will. Abby was saying that she didn't think it was a musical.
I want to know.
I'm in between.
What's the delineation between? I mean, they literally break into song throughout the film. How is that not a musical?
They break into song and dance.
They break into song and dance.
And I asked her about it
but
when she had the opinion, and she wasn't really sure.
But this is also a movie about Elton John, who is one of the best musicians of all time.
But that doesn't really change the fact that, like what Will is saying, there are scenes where they straight up break into song and dance, like you would in a musical.
Yeah.
Like one of the very first scenes, once after he's out of, it like starts going into his childhood when he's telling his story in AA.
That's like
it's a song and dance. It's just like a musical.
Yeah.
It's just people dancing in the street.
Yeah. I'll have to ask Abby. I'm just curious to know what the delineation is, especially because she's someone who loves musicals so much. It's crazy to hear that. I just like how could it not be? But again, that's me speaking from someone who doesn't really watch them very much, and I just think of like West Side Story, which they're talking and then all of a sudden they're singing and they're dancing, and that's exactly what this movie was. So I just well, how is it not? Interesting, cool.
Yeah.
Spoiler zone, I guess. Oh, I guess
spoiler zone.
One thing I'll say before we dip into that. Off the back of Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen biopic, I was very hesitant going into this because of how much that movie changed about real life occurrences to dramatize it and make it more, I guess, palatable for a film versus it just being what actually happened. So I was very hesitant that this would be the same kind of thing. I just dropped something. I'm sorry. Especially now knowing that Dexter Fletcher had a hand in the Queen movie as well. But I think that the things that he said about making this film are very interesting. It's also not super factually inaccurate. There's mostly just stuff that they change about the chronology of events or songs existing. Whereas in the Queen movie, they changed entire things and left stuff out and did all kinds of goofy shit that honestly ruined the movie for me after learning about it in retrospect. But the thing that
I still haven't seen it. But
I haven't either. But
I don't want to get into it just after hearing that. I forget what actor was originally going to play him.
Sacha
but
Baron
he dropped
Cohen.
out because they didn't. Yeah, he dropped out because they didn't want to dive deep into drug abuse and AIDS.
Yeah,
and stuff.
it was all very vanilla and whitewashed.
That's fucking lame, dude.
Well,
in the sense of it being palatable for kids almost.
Didn't
Also,
the living
editing
Queen
in that movie
members
looks
want to
terrible.
de-emphasize Freddie Mercury's part
Bad
in Queen?
parts.
They want
No, they wanted.
I thought
they wanted to paint him
because they wanted it to be more about them or a little bit.
No, I don't think that's true.
I thought I heard that, but I could be wrong. So
I mean, watching the movie, it's not about that at all. So it's
All right.
about Freddie Mercury. Anyway, the things that Fletcher said about this film was that he wasn't trying to make a film that was chronological and like day by day about Elton John's life, but more a film that was representative of how he lived and what living in that time for him felt like. And I agree that I think that he really knocked it out of the park with that. The movie is very emotive, and it does a really good job of trying to understand what it would possibly be like to be Elton John during that time.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of stuff is probably dramatized to a degree, but I don't think any of it is outright false, which a lot of the Queen movie turned out to be, which is, again, a bummer. So if you're coming into it looking for like it to be wildly accurate about time, don't come to it for that. I guess it's just the disclaimer I wanted to say before we jump into it. If someone is listening who wants to watch it but is unsure, it's not going to be like a completely accurate retelling, but given how involved Elton John was in the making of the film, I think it's still super representative of his life, despite that.
Yeah.
So I like that
for
part.
For sure. Oh, cool. Yeah, entering the spoiler zone so we can break down some scenes and shit.
All right,
I
top 3 songs.
loved top 3 songs. Well, how do you pick top
3
3
song
Elton John
scenes.
songs?
Top 3 song scenes.
Okay.
What 3 scenes where he's singing his songs were the best to you? Because that's the thing I'm most curious about.
I mean, I think number 1 is like easy, the Crocodile Rock at the Troubadour.
Yeah, same.
That is the dope.
Like
That
it's
is
like
the best
easy
one.
one.
It's iconic as fuck, man. I was like, this is unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
That would have to be 1 for me. 2 would
It's so
probably
well
be
done,
Saturday
that
Night.
scene.
Saturday Night's all right, like because especially the
that's a
transition
good
from
one.
preteen to Taryn was during that song, and I thought that was really well done. And that's a great song. Like that's a great song.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
I also like that scene a lot.
what else?
Well,
I would say another top one for me would be the Honky Cat that he sings with Richard Madden, where they go on like, it's like when he's becoming like a shopaholic and like a drug addict.
Yeah.
All in one musical scene.
yeah.
Oh, that was kind of cool. Yeah.
It's such like a cool exchange between the two of them, like diving deep into excess and then also like showing them just like go all out. It's just like a really interesting, it transitions into so many different little shops and everything, and like all the props are outlandish.
Yeah.
And I think that he shows a lot of like in that scene, like a lot of different characteristics that you see a lot of in Elton John when he's putting on a show. Like he's extremely dramatic in that scene, like flaunting his body parts around and like making crazy faces and stuff. That scene is really fucking dope.
Pinball Wizard was really cool because of all the outfits that they brought out, like
that
all of his
not-
different outfits.
Is that not a Who song? Am I like thinking of the wrong thing? Like, am I thinking, is Tommy and Pinball Wizard different? Cool. All right. Never mind. Keep going.
I don't know.
I don't think that's a Who. Like that would be
Who made like a rock opera
wild.
about a kid who plays pinball, and I thought
that would be wild if they did a non Elton John song during this movie.
That's why I was confused. So then I was like, well, did the Who just take this song? But maybe it's just similar thematic material. And I'm just not familiar.
No, it is a Who song. Hold on. Pinball Wizard,
like-
Elton John. Oh, they did it together.
Okay. Cool.
The Who and Elton John, Pinball Wizard.
So I mean, that's like a very famous like rock opera, like Tommy the Pinball Wizard, and I know that's the Who, and I don't know Elton John for shit, so I was surprised when I heard.
Wait,
that song.
did they not do it together? God, I don't even know now. I'm getting conflicting information.
Okay, well, hit us up in the comments.
This is riveting.
Tag me so I can find out. Well, I'll go.
But yeah, I would list my top 3 as Troubadour, the Honky Cat song, and then the end where they do like a shot-for-shot remake of "I'm Still Standing."
Yeah.
That was good.
Music video at the very end.
So that was a real music
that's where
video,
I'm at.
right?
So they
Yeah.
Okay.
They
They
just redid it with Taryn.
Yeah, they
That was
definitely
cool.
just like superimposed him in because it was not the best superimposition. Like it was pretty obvious that he was out of place there, in my opinion.
Are you sure? It seemed like that was like real. They just shot it with a funky camera.
I didn't know that.
Is
think
it the
that
one
was-
on the beach that you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah,
he's
yeah, at the end.
superimposed.
Yeah,
I
no.
think-
To me, it was super obvious that he was not supposed to be there. Like everyone else looked like
I don't think it was
part of the raw footage, and then Taron was just like, "I'm here too," and like they tried to put a filter over him to make him match, and it didn't look right to me.
Yeah, I don't think that's right.
Yeah,
I think they remade the entire music video with him.
But I'm glad that you were so confident about it.
He looks really out of place to me.
I feel like
what song was that again?
The style of the '90s, like that bright,
I'm Still Standing,
gaudy visual style is just like it just seemed.
Trevor's turned into a
video.
hacker man right now.
Yeah,
googling.
All right, well, Trevor Googles. I'll say my top 3. Definitely. What's it called? The Troubadour song, Crocodile
Rock.
Sure, that was number 1. Absolutely, I got goosebumps. I don't think I've ever heard that song in my life, but it was very, very good.
Really?
Very impacting.
Damn.
Him floating off the ground is just like unfucking believable, and the whole crowd goes up.
It's like, so cool, right? Everybody else floats too.
That shit really hits, and the note I took, the 2 notes I took during that scene are 2 of my like 12 notes. The floating scene is iconic, and then the musical bits are super hit or miss for me, and as a general rule, not just in this film, but when they hit, and like that. I mean, that scene is like. It is an incredibly memorable visual scene, and it's like that's one that'll stick with me for a long time. Really dope. That's number 1. Number 2 is definitely Rocketman when he tries to commit suicide.
Yeah, it's also.
Is that Rocketman when he falls into the pool? Is that what he's singing?
Yeah, Rocketman.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was fucking amazing. Again, visually really impacting. I love the reoccurrence of the little kid, like Trevor mentioned, being at the bottom of the pool with his little space helmet on.
Yeah.
And then honestly, like the rest of them kind of just blend together for me. I did like the last one that Cobb mentioned, the music video one, and I liked the first one too. Is it The Bitch Is Back? Is that what the song is called or something like that?
Yes. It might be. I know that song's in there.
Yeah. So the first one,
I think
where
that's
he's
the first
that's
one.
like his youngest self, and he like breaks out into like the suburbs. That one was pretty cool too.
I am vindicated. They did use CGI to put him into the original music video.
Okay.
Nice.
And it stood out to me like a sore thumb.
Yeah, I didn't. It didn't seem.
Trevor's got that keen eye.
Didn't seem off to me. Either, but.
It's like it was still cool. Sorry, I'm bringing it back to this after you guys have moved on, but I had to make sure I was like not crazy.
Happy for you, Trev.
Don't be like that, man. Why you gotta take me down like that?
What's your top 3, Trev?
Abby, edit that out.
Please don't edit that out. I'm vindicated. Like, what do you mean? My top 3? I thought I already said my top 3.
Did you?
I thought you only gave 2.
I think I've made my third. I really enjoyed Pinball Wizard because of all the different outfits.
So your first one was the Troubadour. Your second one
Troubadour.
was...
You can't really beat that one. That one was really, really good. And Crocodile.
Oh right, you said
Saturday Night, whatever.
Saturday Night.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Saturday Night was my second one.
Cool. Yeah.
Which I really liked the transition they did, and I don't know. I just really enjoyed that scene. That was a good one.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, especially hearing that Dexter Fletcher doesn't have a super long filmography, that he was able to pull off this type of film like early on. Like there's a lot going on, and I feel like it's really not easy to make like a musical, especially to make it like legible, and visually appealing, which it was the entire time. Like this movie has a lot of style, which I really dug.
Oh yeah.
And obviously, it has to, because Elton John is a stylish motherfucker. But,
yeah,
yeah, it's definitely. I definitely enjoyed it visually more than I enjoyed probably any other aspect besides Edgerton's performance, which was fantastic, as we've all seen.
And I think that's fair. I think a huge part of the movie is just the visual style of it.
Yeah.
I mean, they do so much to like basically just give you a feel of the world before anything else.
Yeah.
It seems like that trumps all when they were thinking about the point of the film.
Yeah.
Very
colorful, very flashy. It fits.
Sure.
It fits him really well. Also, that Dodgers uniform is fucking amazing.
That was so cool.
That's one of his iconic uniforms.
And it was crazy, the transition with the Rocketman song, which I did love that sequence as well.
It was great, yeah.
Just
That
the
was definitely
transition
pretty
from
close to
him
me.
trying to kill himself in the pool straight into Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
Just right in there. It was like, wow, all right, let's keep it moving, I guess.
Him when he like lands in the plane and there's like still smoke coming out of his hair. I love that little
So
Yeah.
cool.
just that little touch.
That's so cool,
There's
right?
like lots of little details that are really wonderful.
And Jamie Bell as Bernie was great.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Bert-
One of my first notes was
You hate Jamie Bell, dude.
I was like,
do not
Cobb,
hate Jamie
I was
Bell.
like, Cobb,
no,
do
Will,
you just
not
love
you,
Jamie
Trevor.
Bell?
Will.
My third note is, does Cobb just love Jamie Bell? Question mark.
Bro, I didn't even know. I don't think about
Dude,
Jamie Bell
no,
ever. He just happens to be in movies that I
it was
like.
it was just
apparently.
really funny. I had no idea he was in it. I didn't know.
I
Rob
know
Stark was in it.
when I saw him in it, I was like, "Son of a bitch! I brought 2 Jamie Bell movies in a row."
Back to back, we're gonna do fucking
Jamie Bell's
Jumper
great.
next. We're doing
I
Jumper
can't.
next.
Apparently, all I ever do is just bring back to back shit.
Wait.
I just can't. That's me.
Also, when did I say I hate Jamie Bell? I like Jamie Bell.
No, it was just because you were saying that all you could see was Jamie Bell, so I took it as you think he was a bad actor.
Oh no,
in,
no.
The last
Jamie
one I
Bell's
showed you
great.
guys, Defiance.
He's great. He's not a fucking whatever their Belarusian man. So that took me out of it. But no, he was great as Bernie Taupin. He was wonderful. He had a lot of
yeah,
really great moments. You know, despite the fact that
he had that dope ponytail by the end.
great ponytail, dude.
Yeah.
It's all slicked back.
Yeah.
Bernie,
but yes.
Bernie is the best. Can we just say that? Like, Bernie as a person.
One of the greatest lyricists of all time.
It's crazy.
That, but also, he's just the best. Like, yeah, he's got his flaws, but he's easily the most, like, there for Elton character.
Because Elton was like, I can't write shit. And Bernie was like, I got you, fam.
Gotcha,
Yeah, but
fam.
also, he just was always, like, yeah,
they were
he
brothers,
supposedly left him at important times, but I don't know. I think
They did have that narrative. I wonder how accurate that was, like, in reality, or if that was just, like, how Elton viewed what was happening.
I mean, they never had a fight, even once.
Yeah. So they did have fights.
yeah.
They did have fights in reality. They weren't like huge, but they were minor issues, and they did take time apart from each other creatively. But I think it wasn't as long as it was portrayed to be in the film, I think is what the article I read said. There's an article about it on Rolling Stone.
I feel like even in the movie, though, it doesn't, like, screen time wise, it's not that long.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Like, when he's away.
I disagree. You don't see him from the moment
think so?
from the moment he meets Heather at the party where Elton also meets John. You don't see
Yeah,
him
but that's
again.
not when they
No,
that's not when they split up creatively. They split up creatively towards the end of the film,
Yeah, I
and
guess
then
that's
he
true.
comes
He
back.
just disappears for so long during that time, and I guess that just serves to illustrate how they were growing apart during that. Because like he barely pops up until he's like at Dodger Stadium or wherever it was, and he's like they had that little spat
True.
in the hallway, which sucked because I liked his character a lot. Not a Jamie Bell hater. I thought he was very good.
The little spat they had in the hallway, though, like just before he went on stage. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what
know,
I'm
like, if I'd even, because, like, I love that he immediately comes back and is like, I'm
saying.
sorry.
And apologizes around the corner.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, I know, it's all right. Like,
yeah. They have a
I feel like
really
they doesn't
nice
really even
That shows how
count.
great their relationship is.
Yeah.
Yeah, also the fact
I
that
thought
Elton
they-
tries to kiss him early on, and he's just like, no, like, I love you, but no. And
To
then
be
he's like,
fair-
Yeah.
I don't blame him for going for it, if that makes sense. Like, it was definitely, like, at least in the terms of the narrative of the film, they definitely were kind of showing that maybe there was something there.
Yeah.
But
They-
obviously,
well, they-
obviously there
They
wasn't.
had been like in like quote unquote dates and stuff, right? They went to
Mm-hmm.
that restaurant and then they were like hanging out, laughing, walking down the street and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're just best buds, but
I do want to say, me and Abby have been to that cafe that they film in the beginning, Regency Cafe.
Fuck off.
We went there when we went to London. It was like a block away from our hotel.
That's awesome.
nice.
Yeah, we didn't. When we first saw the movie, I whispered over to her when they were still inside and didn't show the sign. I was like, I think that's Regency. She was like, no. And then they showed the sign, and I was like, fucking what?
It was.
That's dope.
Great breakfast. Shout out, guys, go there if you're in London.
If I ever get to travel ever,
All our English listeners.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Regency.
Yeah,
All-
all you British boys out there.
hello from across the pond.
Should we talk about his parents?
His parents were
The
fucking bastards.
worst. His mom's a cunt.
They
His
both
dad's
sucked.
a jackass.
The stepdad was classic. I liked him.
Stepdad's
Stepdad
fine.
was just a
Stepdad, you know,
Classic.
He's like a greaser.
Yeah,
He's just like,
classic
what's up?
racer.
Stepdad's kind of nothing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he doesn't seem real strong-willed, but he wasn't like a complete asshole.
Yeah,
like his real
both
biological
his parents
were.
were so fucking shitty, dude. Like,
honestly, like his dad is just
His dad
the
like disregards him when he
worst.
comes back.
yeah, that
Like-
scene where he goes to see his dad, and his dad has like 2 sons, and he's like all like chummy with them, was like a real gut punch.
Yeah,
and then
Also-
and he like says something about like how he got to meet a real life pop star or something like
Such a
that. I'm like,
bastard,
bitch, you're
bro.
his
Why are
fucking
you
dad.
such
Fuck.
an
bastard.
asshole.
He started to sign the record to his dad, and he told him to sign it for somebody
Yeah.
that he worked with or
Brutal.
whatever. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Also, quick note: I was originally watching it on my PlayStation, and then I moved into the bedroom to watch it with Race as she like kind of fell asleep. And when I switched to the Apple TV to watch it in there, I was at that scene, and all of a sudden there was like audio descriptions playing, which I guess is like an accessibility feature for like blind people. It was like reading scene direction in between their dialogue.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that it was
Really?
part of the film because I stopped it at the scene, and then I switched, and I was like very thrown off because for like 3 minutes it was like Elton looks at the record and signs his name, but then has to scribble out to Dad, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, did you hear this out there? And then we had to like we rewound it to the scene before, and it was happening there. So then we had to like just change the options. But very weird, and also would have been a very strange narrative choice. So
Damn.
I'm glad it wasn't the case.
Yeah, that would have been weird.
Yeah,
that would
it
have been really
threw
weird
me-
if all of
They
a
just
sudden
start reading scene direction.
really threw me off. But that just meant that I watched that scene twice, and it was brutal both times. Fuck that guy, and fuck his dumbass little kids
Honestly.
too.
Also, in that scene, you can see the dad. I feel like he understands what he's doing.
Oh, for sure,
Like,
dude.
when he's,
picked
like,
up his
looking
kid-
at him?
Yeah, nah, he's a bastard. He's a real bastard.
Like, it seems like he's doing that shit on purpose.
It's
I wonder
just
if,
to
like,
make him feel bad.
when they went inside, the kid was like, Dad, why did you pick me up? You've never done that before.
Yeah,
And he was like,
I
shut
mean,
up.
Dude, such a bastard.
And I'll never do it again.
And the mom was just as
Like-
bad too. I mean, she's obviously not as
She was.
she's not as like
She was
openly
bad in a
malicious.
different way.
Yeah, she's just like emotionally manipulative, and that is
Mm-hmm.
just as bad, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
Grandma is the goat, though.
Yeah,
She is the
shout out
goat.
to Nan. She was wonderful.
Nan was the best, taking him to his music lessons at the Royal Academy
Yeah, so great.
and
One
all
of-
that stuff. That was a great scene, by the way. Can we talk about that for
yeah,
a second?
I love that.
him rocking up.
When he picks up the song by ear just for the exact part that he heard
Yeah.
from the teacher.
That's where you
And she's
stop.
like, "Why'd you stop?" He's like, "That's where you stop." It's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, what?
Yeah, that was great.
Oh, that was so cool.
One of the articles I read about the fact checking, basically, I was reading about the suicide attempt, and apparently his grandma, after that, her line after he like got pulled out of the pool and was like, okay, she was like, well, I guess we all have to go home now. Like she's just like joking.
In
him
real
after,
life,
like,
she
try-
said that.
Apparently, he is quoted as saying that's what she said. That was her response to him
That's
jumping in the pool.
amazing.
Damn.
Also, his line when he did that was, he walked out and he said, "I have taken 85 Valium, and I'll be dead within the hour." And then he jumped into the pool. So they changed that too.
It's a
which
good thing he
which is
didn't
interesting.
die.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I think it's more dramatic the way he said it, which is
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, but I mean, I've taken 85
The
Valium.
85 Valium line's pretty
and I'll be
good,
dead
too.
within the hour is pretty fucking dramatic too. I mean, that's pretty dope.
Both
That
are
is,
dramatic lines.
True to
But
the
I
man,
get
guess.
why it was said the other way. I
Yeah.
guess. Like I don't hate that they changed it from reality.
No,
on
not
that
at all.
case.
No. It's a minor change, but they're both good. Yeah, Nan was great. Also, when his mom first showed up, I thought it was Kristen Bell in a fat suit. I don't know, man. I was very thrown off. by her.
Wild.
Also, mainly because her accent is terrible. That's an American.
That's freaking Bryce Dallas
yeah,
Howard.
She's
dude.
American, isn't she?
Yeah.
Like, why are you?
I don't
why
know.
do you have an American?
I've seen her in
woman?
other
She's
stuff
in Jurassic
before,
Park or Jurassic World or whatever the fuck. Terrible ass reboot Jurassic Park.
What's her name?
Bryce Dallas Howard?
Bryce Dallas Howard.
She has a really bad English accent in this film, and it's especially bad in her first scene. That's why I thought it was Kristen Bell, because I recognized her
See-
and I knew she had an American accent.
I didn't notice.
Yeah.
All these like movies and stuff where people are like, "That's a really bad British accent." A lot of the times, I don't even notice.
Yeah, I'm not real good at picking it up either, but
I think it's only because I watch
yeah.
soccer and I just listen to British people a lot.
probably.
I guess.
I mean,
like I listen to a lot.
I watch. Yeah, me and Trevor also listen to a lot of British people on like YouTube and stuff.
Fine, then, yeah.
But
fuck
I'm
that,
I
then.
just I don't know. I just never pick it up. I don't have
either.
the best ear though. I think you have a better ear than us also because you're like a music boy.
Maybe. Yeah.
I just don't. My ears barely work, bro.
Yeah, I don't notice that kind of things. My visual stuff, I guess, is better, even though I'm colorblind. But
Yeah.
my ear is not the best.
Yeah, she fucking sucked. I loved the band that he was like backing musician for. His like
Yeah, that was
first
cool.
kiss, right? That was a really nice scene, I thought. And especially when he like tells Bernie that Elton's gay, that was interesting. That could have very easily gone a different way, but I thought it was
Yeah,
handled
especially
well.
back in that time period. Yeah.
For sure. And it
Although I feel
almost-
like they were more progressive in England.
yeah, maybe, I don't know. I have no context for that, but
That's always been my thought, is that England tends to be on the more progressive side of stuff like that.
I feel like they don't though.
If for no other reason that they are like English and therefore they don't care, I guess.
I feel like England is just as bigoted as America is. Is England more progressive than America in your experience, Jacob?
At least in terms
No.
of like racism, I think they're a bit more progressive, right?
Definitely
'Cause-
not.
No.
They're mad
No?
fucking racist
No.
in England. Yeah, they're super fucking
Really?
racist.
They have basically the same thing as we have right now with Donald Trump. They have Boris Johnson. He's also a
Well,
fucking
yeah,
bastard.
but I mean, I thought they were a bit better overall.
The person who gets elected is indicative of the country, just like it is here.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. Okay, never mind then. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, either way,
Yeah.
that scene was
I mean,
nice.
they have places just like America that are like kind of backwards. I mean, you have country everywhere. Like you know, it is what it is.
True.
Okay, so I feel like I've directed this conversation enough. It's your all's turn.
Yeah, I left to get a beer and then I jumped back and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Well,
is
we were talking we were talking about the scene where I don't know who it was. I don't know if it's a real character, a real person, or what. But the black artist that he plays backup for, and who is his first kiss.
I don't think it's a real guy.
Yeah.
Just because I looked it up on IMDb and the guy only had a first name.
Okay.
They didn't give like the character a full name,
Yeah.
so I just assumed it wasn't a real.
So we went
Like maybe like based on. I mean, obviously they show the photos in the end credits, and he did play at a backup role
Yeah.
for a band.
But that was also for the lady band. That wasn't for those guys. That was for the group of 3 women that were singing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
What
we
the
we
old
just
photo was.
we went from there to the scene where he tells Bernie that Elton's gay, and then we were just talking about how that could have easily gone a different way during that time. That's how we got on the England is progressive.
Oh,
topic.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Definitely could have.
Where do
yeah,
y'all
for
want to
sure.
take it now?
I would love to talk about the Troubadour scene.
Yeah,
I think that
Troubadour.
we could
Troubadour?
definitely dive into it. Yeah, Troubadour, however it's pronounced.
Have you not heard like some of the songs
What?
that say Troubadour? Like, what is it? Oh God, I'm having a blank on his name now. He's got a new song, Old Troubadour, that came out not too long ago. He's a classic country singer. I guess you wouldn't know.
Little
actually,
Nas
if you
X?
don't-
Nope.
Little Nas X.
No.
He's a country singer, right?
Not even close. No, he's not. He did a collab with a country singer. It wasn't
Listen,
the
all right,
worst.
I don't pronounce things right. I'm dumb. All right, deal with it. I'm just gonna pronounce things wrong forever. All right.
God, why can't I think of his name?
Is there a reason behind it? No.
So the,
All right.
the Troubadour scene.
So it's at a dope country western bar.
George Strait. Thank you. Okay. Anyways,
Don't know.
Fuck that guy.
Don't know.
what? You don't know who George Strait? Wait, do you guys really not know who George Strait is?
No, I know who it is. Yeah, I
Oh,
know who
okay.
it
I
is.
thought you were being serious for a second. Anyways, yeah, I love that scene, especially because like half the Beach Boys, and who else was out there? Getting ready to watch.
Yeah, I forget who he mentioned, but yeah, the Beach Boys and somebody else that were out in the crowd. When he gets fucking pissed at
Bernie
Benny,
for telling
or
him.
Bernie. I mean, yeah, he gets fucking so mad. He goes into the toilet, and they have that. It's a really dope shot of him in the stall.
Yeah.
That is a cool scene, especially because like,
This
all
is-
right, let's go. Like after he gets
It's
yelled
also
at a bunch.
where we see him first like don like a stage character outfit, where he
That-
like starts wearing
Those dope
ridiculous
overalls
clothes.
and that like star spangled shirt. and stuff.
Yeah,
and the
very
big
dope.
he
Yeah,
always has
sweet.
the crazy glasses though. He always has crazy glasses.
His glasses are impeccable. It makes me so jealous
They are.
as a fellow glasses person.
You got to step up your game, bro.
I could never, dude. I could never.
But yeah, so then the scene basically goes out to him on stage after everybody like basically yells at him and forces him to go and being like, you got to hold up your side of the contract and shit. But once they're out on the stage,
He rocks it.
it's such like a fucking amazing, visually artistic moment that they have
Yeah.
during the song.
Can I also say I didn't know that Elton John's real name was not Elton John.
Elton Hercules John.
Sorry, I didn't know that was not his real name. I didn't realize it was Reggie Dwight.
Yeah.
I love
Like-
the idea of Reg Dwight being a cowboy name. That made me laugh.
That is funny.
It's like great cowboy.
It sounds like it could
No,
be.
I know.
for
Yeah,
sure.
it definitely could be.
does. It does.
But yeah, I loved that.
Who's
I
the?
did. I mean, wait, hold on.
who's
what
the
was I gonna
fucking
say?
troubadour?
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Who's the troubadour manager? Like that fucking. He's like a classic that guy. Like he's so recognizable, but I have no idea who he is. He has the long hair. It's like an insane long wig.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was one of the people I did not write down.
No, I mean he's not a character, but he's an actor that is like
Tate
crazy.
Donovan.
Yeah, super recognizable. What the fuck is he from? Is he a dad in the OC?
He's-
Is that what I know him from? I think he's.
he apparently played Hercules in the original Hercules cartoon.
Fuck yeah.
I think he's someone's dad.
He was in Manchester by the Sea as a hockey coach.
I need to watch that.
He was in Argo.
Fuck Argo.
Classic. Will hates that
Trash
movie.
He was in Shooter. Those are his top four are Argo, Hercules, Shooter, and Manchester.
Okay, I'll look him up in my own spare time.
So he's good friends with Ben Affleck.
Fuck Ben Affleck.
He's in a bunch of the Kingdom Hearts games because of that.
Because of Hercules.
He was in
that's
Friends?
dope.
He was in Friends.
I don't know.
He was in a bunch of episodes of Friends.
Okay, we can jump out of this
Friends.
rabbit hole. This is not that worth it.
Okay,
I thought you guys would both recognize him, and I guess that's not. The
I
case.
recognized him. I just wasn't sure what from either.
When he came on
I just
screen. I
happened
laughed
to-
my ass off. Great wig.
It was funny. And he did a
Um,
great job. And I thought the Troubadour was awesome, especially with him floating.
Yeah.
Like then they took that from that one photo where he like jumped up and like stuck his feet out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's based
And I
on
thought
a
that was
thing?
really cool with
I
everyone
didn't know that.
floating.
That's cool.
Well, it was in the
yeah.
end credits.
They show it at the end. That's like a classic thing that I think he had done it multiple times where he like, because he's so active when he's on the piano, or at least he used to be, like moving around and stuff. But yeah, the jump backwards, it really shows like how he was feeling in the moment, basically just like flying
Yeah.
on his first stage performing for an audience that was that
In America.
insane.
Yeah.
Um,
Floating from happiness.
and the people were fucking loving it, dude. Everybody jumps on stage and shit. Bernie's loving it.
Yeah.
He finds the lady that he ends up going to a party with,
Heather.
where they end up having the song. What song do they do there? Tiny Dancer. I think.
Tiny Dancer's at the party.
That was a
And
good
that's
song.
when he meets what's his face,
John Reed.
John Reed, who's a jackass of all jackasses.
Yeah, Richard Madden. Famous for playing Robb Stark in Game of Thrones. Also, fun fact, that person is also the manager of Queen. So that character is also in Bohemian Rhapsody, but it's played by the guy who plays Littlefinger in Game of Thrones. So a Game of Thrones connection there.
That's so weird.
Weird, very odd.
Yeah, shout out Abby. She found that out last night when she was looking on IMDb.
Yeah, my friend mentioned that too, but he didn't tell me who the actors were because he's never seen Game of Thrones. So that's interesting.
Damn, that's crazy. He hasn't seen Game
That
of
is
Thrones.
wild.
Yeah, he just watches Top Gun and Hunt for Red October over and over. Shout out to Aaron.
Jeez. Man, what a true American.
True American. Yeah, that scene was cool. John Reed's a real bastard.
Yeah,
Richard.
so
Especially
like
the pool
throughout
side
the film,
scene.
he is such a fucking asshole. When in that
really
coming out
is.
scene with his mom,
Yeah.
where he's on the phone with his mom's being emotionally manipulative and an absolute asshole,
Yeah.
and then saying like he'll never be loved properly
Yeah.
because he's gay,
Yeah.
because he came out to her.
And she's also
then
says
right
he
after
chooses
that,
to never be loved. It's like, that's not a choice, man.
Yeah.
That's
she was a bitch.
she's
But then right after he hangs up on the phone,
he punches him.
yeah, he fucking punches him when they get in a fight.
Yeah. That was fucked.
What the hell,
It's
man?
like such a fucking down moment for him. Like, he truly doesn't have any love in that moment.
Yeah.
What happened to him in real life, by the way?
He was his manager
Who?
until '98, and they had a short-lived
Them-
relationship.
Yeah. Apparently, in real life, the guy was an asshole, though. He like, I forget what Abby was telling me. He, like, punched a lady or something like that.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
He, like, was actually, like, a piece of shit.
I mean, I think it's
God,
easy
I
to
hope-
take the opinion watching this film that, like, the people who are portrayed badly are people that Elton John just has a grudge against, you know, because he was so heavily involved with it. But at the same time, like, obviously that's probably a reductive way to look at it, because if this dude's out here punching women, it's clearly not just a Elton John level grudge.
Yeah.
No, and also, like, I'm also going to take his opinion on his parents at pretty well face value for this film. Because I feel like it's hard.
I'm taking him all face value. I trust Elton.
Yeah.
He's my boy.
But I feel
I've
like
got a
it's-
freaking coffee mug with him on it that says I'm still standing.
Hashtag Elton
Very
did
nice.
nothing wrong.
that we bought at a fucking apple cider mill in Michigan.
What? Great pull.
So random.
Yeah.
It was so random. It was just in the gift shop, and we were like, we gotta
That's
buy
a
it.
great pull.
I don't know. I just feel it's hard to want to portray your parents as being, like, the worst possible version of them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm sure it would be impossible for him to make light of what they said and did to him. But even if he could, and he did, they're still awful. So I'm taking what they are in this film as face value, which is terrible, terrible human beings.
Yeah, they're fucking trash for sure.
Yeah.
But
Who would you say is the least likable in this?
His mom.
the
Did
dad?
you guys see? I would I would say fucking John Reed. So it's definitely split there.
Interesting.
Why do you guys think your person's the least likable?
His dad's just the worst.
The dad does. I would say the dad over the mom. I would agree with you in that, just because the dad seems
like.
well. They're both manipulative. I don't know. They're
John
so
Reed
manipulative.
is manipulative, but he has a reason behind it, which he saw a rising star and he
business
wanted
boy.
to grab on and make money, which is bad. But at the very least, he had a reason. His dad is the worst human for no other reason other than being the worst human.
Yeah, I think I can make that same argument
feel you.
about his mom too. I mean, she's spiteful towards him for no reason at all. I mean, it's not at all his fault that the dad left. The
Yeah,
dad,
no. When she says that, it's fucking
It's
crazy.
insane.
Like, bitch, you cheated
Yeah,
on him
yeah.
in broad daylight.
I
Yeah.
think honestly, I think
Well,
it's. I mean, I think it will just be a personal thing, right? Like, do you think that actively or passively damaging your son's life is worse, right? So, like, the dad leaves, so he's not really an active participant any longer, but that, of course, is damaging. But the mom stays and is actively fucking horrible to him, and I think that is worse.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't remove.
I will
herself from the
appreciate that
situation.
argument for sure.
Like, that's a really fucking terrible place. And, like, of course, you know, it's not just like the dad stops being an asshole. I mean, and that's proven by the scene later in the film where he sees him. He's just as terrible then as he was earlier, if not worse. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're both awful. They're both awful. I just think that, like, insidious nature of, like, pretending to care for him while actually just chopping him down at every opportunity is equally, if not worse, equally as bad, if not worse, than what the dad does. But John Reed's a fucking piece of shit too. I mean, you know, the only redeeming factor, and I think the reason I didn't think of him right off the bat, is that he does have what appears to be a loving relationship with him for at least some period of time. I mean, there's never a point which the dad or mom are good to him.
Yeah, but did he actually like him?
I don't think he did.
That's
I
just
think
trying
he
to get
grabbed
into
onto
the.
a
That's up for
rising
debate.
star
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
took his money.
I think he was just trying to get the business.
They're
rolling.
all pretty terrible, which is like crazy. You know, poor guy. Fuck.
Yeah, he definitely had a lot of dark personalities in his life, which I'm glad that in the end of the movie we see. Obviously now he's been sober for like
28 years.
28 years.
Yeah.
I guess it'd be
Yeah.
29 years and counting now.
He's got 2 kids. He's got a husband.
He's
and they're
taking a break
doing-
from touring.
They're doing great,
Yeah.
seemingly at least from the end of the movie, which is really nice to see. It's a breath of fresh air coming off of all the fucking dark ass shit that happens in this movie, while they're singing songs.
Yeah. Can we chat about the last scene? Like not the last scene, but the final like reckoning in an AA meeting when like all his family members like,
I want to
pop
talk
up.
I mean, I want to go in on that just before we like do the final one. I want to talk about the AA meetings as a whole. Because
I think it's a good anchor point.
It was a great progression because also he's slowly losing pieces of the costume throughout the different AA meetings.
Yeah. It's like him personally being able to open up and break down into Reggie instead of Elton John.
Yeah, stripping down out of the persona to become the person that he really is.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, it's not the most subtle. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of obvious, I feel like.
I think it's pretty subtle. I think if you're not like a film boy, you're not like taking it like, you're not like looking at it being like, oh, they're breaking down his fucking character.
This is a narrative
I see it.
device.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Maybe
obvious at all.
maybe I'm biased in that as a somewhat film.
No, I
At least
actually,
a somewhat studied
Here he
film
goes.
person.
Here
No,
he
no,
goes.
no.
Fucking
I'm not-
film critic
no,
Trevor.
wait.
Come on.
You are an excellent critic.
I am not
You
an
are
excellent
fantastic.
critic.
What did you rate? What did you rate Operation Double Drop again? Like a 10 out of 10, Trevor?
12 out of
That's
10,
what I'm trying to
baby.
say. I'm not a great film critic by any means.
I actually would like to jump
But-
on.
But sorry,
I
what were you
wanna-
saying before I attacked?
I want
you?
to jump on Trevor's side.
I like the AA meetings as a whole because I definitely don't think they're real, in the sense that I don't think he actually showed up to his first AA meeting in a costume,
He didn't.
because they even show before the final AA meeting him leaving a concert in the big costume, going to the AA meeting.
Didn't happen in real life.
Didn't actually happen. I don't think it even happened necessarily in the context of the film. I think it was more of a mind palace type thing, representing.
I think in the context of the film, it definitely happened.
I don't know.
Shout out
That
Persona.
one
It goes straight there. What do you mean?
Mind Palace. Persona.
That mind. What is it? The heart castle.
His
What do they
heart-
call it?
I don't.
I don't.
They're
remember.
called palaces. Castles, maybe castles. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
I don't remember, man.
What do you think happened?
I think it's more of a representation of his road to recovery during rehab and stuff. But I think even within the context of the film, it happens within his mind, kind of. Regardless, I really appreciated that. Now we can get into the final
Interesting.
AA meeting.
Well, no. Now we're gonna talk
Will.
about what you're talking about because I want to talk about this too. I think that.
All right.
I am on your side in one aspect of this talk, but also not another. I do agree that it's kind of a hokey narrative device to do it, and I also thought of it strictly as a narrative device because that is what it is.
I never said it was hokey.
Okay.
I said it was obvious.
Well, I think
I liked
those
it.
kind
I
of
don't
go
think it
hand
was
in hand.
hokey.
I don't. Sorry. Okay. Hokey to me is not negative. I think it's hokey is
Hokey is definitely a negative.
Okay.
Hokey is very much a negative term.
sweet. I take that back then. I also think it's an obvious. I think it's an obvious.
You're
narrative
wrong.
device. I'm trying to be on your fucking side here, Trevor.
I know. I appreciate
I
it, man.
think it's
Nobody's ever on my side.
I think it's an obvious narrative device. I don't think it's the best way I've seen it done. I think it was handled better in Honey Boy, the Shia LaBeouf movie last year. Personally, that's a subjective opinion, of course. However,
I haven't seen it.
It's very similar.
It's very similar. I just like it more in that film. I think it's handled better.
That's fair.
I think it's probably just because you like that movie.
Yeah,
more.
probably. Which is why I said subjective.
general.
Not objective.
Because I mean, I've seen both of them too, and I don't think that either one does it better. They're just a little bit different.
Yeah.
They're like but like incredibly similar.
Yeah, sure. I lost my other point where I was going to go against what Trevor said. So.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's on me. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't like. I think what takes away from it is that final reckoning scene where he like talks to his mom and dad and grandma and his younger self and to Bernie all like in the context of an AA meeting. That is hokey to me.
Yeah.
I don't think the framework of that is hokey, but that seemed like a really easy way out for him to reconcile with his demons. And again, I understand that it's a movie that is made with a large amount of his participation, and whether or not that was his idea or not, it just seems a little bit too easy. And it's kind of like self-serving,
I definitely get that.
Like this is what I wish I could have done type of thing. And I don't, that aspect is not in Honey Boy, which is why I think I put Honey Boy above it, right? There isn't really any self-serving aspect of that, despite the fact that that movie is literally made by Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, it is. And he plays the dad.
Yeah, so, and that's its own type of catharsis, right? Yeah, so...
Yeah, I can't even imagine what that would be
Insane.
like. That to get on like a small Honey Boy tangent. Great movie. You guys should definitely go see it. But yeah, playing your dad who's like an abusive asshole, alcoholic, drug addict, war vet is like
insane.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie. You guys should see it.
I
I don't want to delve too deep, obviously, in an Elton John Rocketman podcast.
Both of these are both free with Amazon Prime to stream. So after you watch Rocketman, go check out Honey Boy.
I guess
It's really great.
If you don't have Prime, Rocketman is also on Hulu.
Oh, good plug. Honey Boy's not. That's a
I
Prime
watched
original,
it on Prime.
So.
I watched it on Hulu. But
There we go.
Yeah, so I did like the ending, and I liked the recreation of the music video that we talked about, and I liked his last scene with Bernie. I thought it was really sweet. But
cool.
I didn't love that circle of metaphorical demons that he deals with. I thought that was kind of cheap.
I definitely am there with you. I think that the film started to get a little bit weaker for me in the basically like last fourth of the movie.
Yeah.
Like the ending ish part of the movie, it kind of dragged a little bit for me.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel that in that last scene being kind of like, it like seems like they had to do it because they didn't know how else to show that type of scene, and they also were pushed for time because of how long the movie already was.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't hate,
because it happens so quick. It's just like boom. It's like let's bring in all the characters that were in the rest of the film.
Yeah. It's like
let's finish this.
It's like a very neat bow to tie, and like. Yeah, I mean,
it is, but
I do like the scene where Bernie comes back, though.
That part's
I like
great.
that scene
That
where
scene
he
is-
sees him at
yeah.
I appreciate what you guys are saying about the last AA scene, and I don't think I disliked it maybe as much as you guys did. Like, I understand, blah, blah, blah. But also, like you were saying, a reason I think I give it more of a pass is the whole movie has been about his up-and-coming career into the music industry and the trials and tribulations he went through. I don't think they needed to then go into his entire rehab story as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think they really wanted to.
I think they needed to tell it to a point, like, hey, this is what happened, other than just doing, like, an end credits thing, like, he went into rehab and came out fine. I think putting that in the movie itself was important, and I think it was, for not delving all the way into it and adding another half hour or more onto this movie, telling his rehab story, I think it does what it's supposed to do, and it does it pretty well. I don't think it was. I don't feel like it was cheap. I feel like it maybe could have been handled a little bit different, but overall, I think it was fine. It was fine. It did what it was supposed to do, and it did it pretty well.
Yeah, I
that's my
respect that,
opinion on
for
it,
sure.
though. So.
Yeah. No, I definitely I feel you on that. Also, a little bit off topic. I didn't want to end the podcast without mentioning the Stephen Graham's performance of Dick James, the like record exec guy from the first record
he was
company
great.
he signs with. That guy's fucking classic.
He is.
He's always got a cigar. He's got these big ass glasses. He's always calling people cunts.
Yeah,
like
that actor is great too. He's another classic that guy. He's in like a bunch of Guy Ritchie gangster films. I think he's in Snatch. Is maybe his best known role. He's good.
So fucking good. Yeah. I loved that character. I liked the kid too, the younger kid played by Charlie Rowe.
Right.
Yeah, I was sad that they did get rid of him. Even he said it in the film. Like, couldn't we kept him on?
Yeah.
Or something like that. And because I thought he was great, because he was always behind Elton
well.
and Bernie.
What'd you guys think
like
of?
He recognized them for what they were.
Sorry, Trev.
Sorry. No, you go ahead.
What do we think of
What'd you guys think of his marriage to Renata?
They skimmed over it pretty quick. I felt like. I think they could have taken a little bit more time to talk about why they got married. And then, it's obvious why they got divorced.
Yeah.
That's pretty obvious. But, like, why they got married and then also what she went through while they were married. Because basically we got meeting, marriage, separate bedrooms, divorce.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
And then the mom going, poor thing, having to go through all that. And him saying, I dragged her into my crazy life. And that was it. It's like, what exactly happened?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like a sham marriage, right? It didn't last very long in real life.
It lasted 4 years.
I can't imagine.
4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, they gloss over that then.
That shit was like, it's like 5 minutes in the film. And I think that's...
It's so short.
Yeah, I was curious to just hear what you guys thought. I do like how... And I think it goes for the entirety of the film, but especially as like it progresses and maybe the last 2/3 of it are very like fluid. And I like, referencing what Fletcher said earlier, what I said that Fletcher said earlier, how it's all about kind of like the memory and the feeling versus like what actually happened day to day. The nature of a 4-year marriage happening in what is essentially a montage. I mean, it's barely even 4 scenes. It's like they sing together.
Yeah,
they're leaving the house.
Short.
They walk out of the bedroom, and then they're at a breakfast table, and he like drinks an entire orange juice and vodka, and then he says, "I'm sorry," and that's it. I like that kind of
and then we cut to him having dinner with his parents,
which is an amazing scene, by the way. I love the scene where he's at that restaurant.
It is a great scene.
Yeah, I love that it
so
like
good.
Cuts to him then
with Bernie
at dinner with Bernie.
Yeah, really good. He's like, "What are you doing here?"
And the outfit change.
Yeah, I think they handle his drug use like about as well as you could, given you don't want to make him appear like an absolute degenerate, but at the same time you have to like acknowledge how serious his problem was. And like
yes.
Yeah.
The way there's barely any what's the word that I want? I don't know. It's so amorphous how like it goes from scene to scene, and like Trevor mentions when he's singing at the LA Dodger Stadium, and then it's like swirling around him as he changes outfits. Like his life during that time was such a blur, and I think they're very good at characterizing it as such,
showing that,
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's shit. I mean, it's a really well made film. 6.5.
It is.
Probably belies the fact that I think that. I just think there were some issues with it.
Yeah, I feel like you talked about it higher than a 6.5,
Yeah.
but I'm also thinking about the way I rate
Well,
movies.
I did say strong 6.5 and light 7. So like there are aspects of it that I think are higher than a 6.5, but I'll probably never watch it again.
Yeah.
And I also don't have the context of being a fan of Elton John, so like while some songs did hit very hard, like there were ones that I've never heard before and are already out of my head. You know what I mean? So
I will say that I became a big Elton John fan after seeing this movie.
I do want to listen to some
I hadn't
stuff.
really listened to that much Elton John before this, and then after watching it I was like, man, I really liked a couple of those songs, and then I like dived into Elton John just like on my commute, going back and forth to work like 30 minutes every day. It was just like
there are definitely some
just
bangers.
I just love his music.
Definitely.
I love his music so much, and that was a big fact of me wanting to, or a big factor of me wanting to watch the movie again. I was like, I wanted to relive it, basically.
I'm glad to have watched it.
Like for me, oh, go
no,
for it.
you're good. I'm done. That was it.
So my mom's a big Elton John fan, always has been. So like I grew up singing Benny and the Jets. Like in the back of the car, Mom would be like, like Benny and the Jet, and then me and my sister in the back would just continue the hiss, like the s on the tail end of that.
Nice.
So
That's
like
dope.
I grew up listening to him, so I've always got a big appreciation for him. But like I said, I'm also not the biggest music person, I guess. It's like, but like for me, I guess I would be the person that knew about him more so before this film. I don't know. It was
probably.
I really appreciated all the songs, and I've always liked older music anyways. So
Yeah. I mean, he's great.
good
He's
good
great.
stuff. Yeah, he's one of the best.
But yeah, I'm glad you guys liked it. You guys have any final thoughts or anything?
No?
Yeah.
I think I got pretty much everything I wanted to get out. Oh, I kind of liked the drum and bass, like some of the like remixes they did of some of the songs. Like one that stood out to me in my notes was during the orgy scene when they're doing Benny and the Jets, and they kind of do like a drum and bass version for a little bit almost. I really liked that. All right, that was pretty much it.
Nice.
I don't have the context of the original enough to know the difference. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the songs were changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before, where like, I only mentioned Taron putting his own twist on it, but yeah, the songs in and of themselves, a lot of them have their own little twist on them for the movie. But yeah, that was Rocketman. Next week we are gonna have Will's pick, so we're looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll catch you guys for the next podcast. Thanks for listening.
Bye.